What's up everyone, welcome to the video. So Sony was actually nice enough to send over some of their shotgun microphones for testing. All I had to do was pay them. Currently I have the ECM G1, $150. I have the ECM B10, $250. I have the ECM M1, the new one with all those pickup patterns in the back. And then I've got the ECM B1M. $350. Right now we're on the Sony ZV-E1 full frame camera and I just have the Rode Video Micro 2 attached with a cable. It is a great sounding microphone. The only thing is it's a little bit less convenient because you do have to use that audio port, whereas all of these have that hot shoe attachment. So these are all wireless. These are all cable free. Now I should mention too that the ECM G1 is the only microphone that you actually can use on any other camera with a cable. So this one you could actually boom it much closer if you've got a cable. This is the only Sony ECM shotgun microphone that you could do that with. All right, so we're gonna do 3 main indoor studio tests. First test we're gonna do, I'm 2 feet away from the microphone right now. This is a bit further away than I'd usually sit, but I do have more room. I could also punch in a little bit. Now I can get even further away with that clear image zoom. But I typically don't like to use the clear image zoom just because when I do these talking head shots, I could actually go closer to the microphone and stay within 2 feet versus 5 or 10 feet. So the control microphone is going to be the Rode Video Micro 2, which retails for $80. And now this is actually the onboard microphone on the Sony ZV-E1. This is also the same onboard microphone that the Sony ZV-1 Mark II has, which is a pretty decent microphone. If you just have this, you could probably get by as long as you're not in any loud situations. But it's always worth it to at least step up to this one. This is actually the cheapest option here. All right, we're at 2 feet away with the onboard microphone. And now we're about 5 feet away with that microphone. This is pretty far away. I don't think you would do this without booming the microphone or getting a lapel microphone with a really long cable. At least get a cheap cable lapel microphone that you can just run along the floor up and through your shirt. That way it's gonna sound a lot better. But just in case you're wondering, this is what the ZV-E1's onboard audio is capable of. I would not use this microphone if you're further than 5 feet away. I wouldn't even use it if you're further than 2 feet away. Just in case you're wondering, this is what it sounds like. All right, so Rode Video Micro. We're gonna connect this one up and do a 5-foot test. All right, this is the Rode Video Micro from 2 feet. And this is what the Rode Video Micro 2 sounds like from 5 feet away. Probably a lot more echo, but it probably sounds a lot better than just the onboard microphone. And for 80 bucks, you can't go wrong with this simple setup. Oh yeah, and you can use it with any camera. So if you have a Canon or Nikon or Panasonic or any other camera with an audio jack, you could use this microphone. So next up is gonna be the ECM G1. For the sake of simplicity, we're gonna do the 2-foot and then the 5-foot test with all the microphones, and then we'll do a final 10-foot test with all the microphones. ECM G1 microphone, $150. This is 2 feet away, and this is 5 feet away. How does it sound? How's the reverb sound? Is the bass too high? Is the treble too high? Does it sound any better, any worse than the Rode Video Micro 2? It's about twice the price of the Rode Video Micro 2, but there are no cables, so it is a better vlogging microphone. All right, now we've got the Sony ECM B10. This is $250. How does this sound? It's basically the smaller version of the B1. It's a little bit smaller, not much smaller. It's the same height. It has all these same settings in the back, but it's just a little bit smaller, where this one has 8 capsules. This B10 that we're using right now only has 4, but it's only about that big. It's just got a little bit, it's like got its nose cut off. So it's not much smaller, but if you're holding your camera like this, it's actually not going to stick out if you're putting it in and out of a bag like this. Not a bad option. This is what it sounds like from 2 feet away. And this is what the Sony ECM B10 for $250 from 5 feet away will get you. This is a great option for $250. It's a bit pricey. It does sound really good for what it is. And there are no cables, so it's super simple. I also want to say these pickup patterns are super useful. You can be from behind the camera and then just flip the switch, and then there you go. I've done this in some vlogs before. Just make sure you flip it back up to the front facing. I think they call that super cardioid. I'm not even sure. Super cardioid, cardioid. It's like front facing wide shot, and then 360 all around. Just make sure that if you're using it like that, talking behind the microphone, you flip the switch back up and then you turn it around. That way it's picking up your voice nice and clear. All right, next up, we're gonna talk about the ECM M1 microphone, their newest microphone. It has a whole bunch of these pickup patterns. That way you can actually if you're in a super windy or super loud environment, you want to just pick up what's in front of you. That's what this mode's gonna do. And then if you want to Maybe if you're talking with someone and they're over here, you want it to pick up a little bit more of their voice, maybe a wide shot, you're talking to a whole bunch of people, like a big crowd. This is what that one's gonna be good for. Of course, we have the all directional, I keep wanting to call it unidirectional, multi-directional, there you go, right there. And we also have some useful modes like behind the camera, and then if you're talking to someone behind the camera and in front of the camera, it's gonna sound really good. And then we have left and right. Honestly, I think that these modes are a bit too much. I think just this one and then this one. I mean, it's nice that you have all these modes, but let's see how this thing sounds. All right, ECM M1 microphone, shotgun microphone, no cables. This is on super directional, so it's probably only picking it up right now. I want to see if it picks me up if I go over here. Does it still pick me up? It's probably not going to pick me up at all right now. If I go back to the middle, it probably picks me up. But now, what if I go all the way over to the side? It's probably only going to be picking people up from right here, right in the middle. But let's see. Say hi. He's got some coffee. But let's see if you can hear me with this pattern. This is probably pretty useful because it's going to block out. It's almost going to be like a noise cancellation. It's just going to talk to the front of the camera. So this is the ECM M1 from 2 feet away. And this is the Sony ECM M1 from 5 feet away. How does this sound? Sony ECM M1, $350. Pay attention to the sound because the next microphone we're going to talk about is pretty important. All right, Sony ECM B1M, $350. It is basically this microphone. You see this microphone with the 4 capsules? It's basically this microphone, but that big. It's about that wide, and it's got 8 capsules. This is going to sound the best, and in my opinion, this microphone is the best. It's just a bit pricey at $350. So we're at 2 feet away. Now this is the Sony ECM B1M from about 5 feet away. How does it sound? This one is going to pick up your voice the best, even if you're a bit further away. And in my opinion, this is the one you should get if you got $350 to spend. Now we're going to do the 10-foot test. All right. Make sure this is 10 feet away. This is a bit crooked, huh? Don't know why this is crooked. We'll just straighten the camera and I'll deal with the crooked tripod in a little bit. I'm having trouble with the thing. All right, this is 10 feet away. I zoomed in. We're at about 35, 40 millimeters right now on the clear image zoom. This is actually about 8.5, 9 feet away, but this is as close as I can get to 10 feet away in this small space. This is with the Rode Video Micro 2. So this is $79 on Amazon. Again, link below to all this stuff. This is probably the best bang for your buck. If you don't want to spend over $100, but you want to get some awesome audio quality for $80, if you're on a tight budget and you want good results, this is the system you should get. So Rode Video Micro 2, 8.5 feet away. How does it sound? Now this is the Sony ECM G1, 150 feet. $150 it costs. It's a wireless microphone. It's about 8.5 feet away from me right now. We'll call it 10 feet, but it's pretty far away. It's on the other side of the room right now. I keep knocking into my bicycle, but this is what you get if you spend $150 to get that small mini shotgun microphone that's very vlogging friendly and it doesn't take up a lot of space. In my experience, this small microphone packs a really good punch. You get some really good results out of this microphone and it doesn't take up a lot of space, so if you're constantly putting it in and out of your backpack, this is great, but this is what it sounds like from 10 feet away. Also, I'm going to go ahead and boost the bass on this microphone right now in the editing so that you can hear. I just recently discovered that you can actually edit audio when you're editing your video as well. So that's been a huge thing. The bass boost has really helped, and that's probably going to make these smaller microphones sound a lot like the bigger microphones. So ECM G1, 8.5 feet away. What do you think? Alright, ECM M1. This is the $350 new microphone with all the bells and whistles. This is what it sounds like from about 10 feet away, 8 to 10 feet away. In my opinion, this one does not sound as good as the B10 or the B1M, but it's got some of those nice noise cancellation features. You can really change. It has a whole lot of those different pickup patterns. You have super directional in the front, wide in the front. You have front and back. So if you're talking or interviewing someone, you have a lot of different modes for this microphone. But in my experience, it does not sound as good as the B10 and the B1M. It sounds a little bit better than the ECM G1 that we just tested, but it does not sound as good as the B1M or the B10. Sony ECM M1, $350 right here. This is what it sounds like from across the room. And now we're currently on the ECM B10 for $250. We're about 8.5 or so feet away. This probably sounds pretty decent. You're probably hearing a lot of echo just because this is not a sound treated room. This is just a bedroom in Astoria, Queens, New York that I'm filming out of. So I don't have time or don't really care to soundproof it. This is what it sounds like from 8.5 feet away with this shotgun microphone. $250 is a bit pricey, but this one sounds better than the ECM M1 with all those bells and whistles. My recommendation would be spend $250 on this one and don't spend $350 on the M1. If you're going to spend $350, you should just go ahead and buy the Sony ECM B1M, which again costs $350, and I just switched to it, so we're filming on it right now. This is going to pick you up the best as far as the pickup. It has 8 pickups, or 8 little speakers, or pickups I think you call them, on top, so you can stand further away. And especially in a scenario like this, when I'm 8.5 or so feet away, give or take 8 to 10 feet away, this probably sounds the best. I don't have to go into my editing software and boost the bass, reduce the treble, update the voice enhance. I don't have to do any of that in Final Cut. This is just straight at a camera. I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to touch this audio. This sounds the best if you want a good sounding microphone and you want that flexibility and that versatility to film from 5, 10 feet away. Okay, I got all that footage into my editing software. I listened to some of the clips. Overall, here's my opinion. First, we're going to throw a wild card into the mix. I'm going to connect up the Rode Video Micro first generation. This one's $50. We're going to film with this, that way I can actually show you the microphones as I'm talking about them. All right, so Rode Video Micro 2. This is a great microphone if you're on a budget. For $80, it has a great sound. It picks you up from across the room. It works with any microphone, not only Sony microphones, it'll work with Canon, Nikon, Panasonic. Any camera that has an audio jack, you can use this microphone on. You can also use it with smartphones if you have an adapter cable. Quality that you're getting, the audio quality for $80 is unmatched. This is the best value microphone on the list. Also, if you have a longer cable, you can boom it with a little stand. That way it can just sit right here and that audio is going to sound a lot clearer since it's going to be a lot closer to your mouth. Alright, so this is an example of if the microphone was sitting on top of the camera, and this is an example if the microphone was boomed much closer to my mouth. You could see it's only about that close to my mouth, so it's probably going to be a lot clearer than if it's sitting all the way up top. So one of the nice things about these microphones with the wires is you could actually boom it, and the closer you get that microphone to your mouth, the better it's going to sound. So that's one nice thing about these microphones that you can do. If you're on a budget and you want versatility, the Video Micro 2 is the way to go. You just got to be able to deal with those cables. Up next, we have the ECM G1, the little smallest shotgun microphone that Sony makes. This is a great option if you want to connect it to a camera and you could just throw it in and out of your bag. It does not take up as much space as the B1 or the B10 does. The B1M is much, much bigger. It sticks out much more in the front. So this is a great compact option. So this microphone at $150, it is about twice the price of this microphone. I would say the Rode Video Micro 2 does sound a little bit better than the ECM G1. However, it's nice that you don't have to worry about those cables. And again, you can also get a little cable and you can boom it. It's the only Sony ECM microphone that you actually can use with other cameras as well. So you can use it as a studio microphone. You can boom it much closer to your mouth. And overall, I am very impressed with the sound that comes out of this small, cheap shotgun microphone. If this is all you can afford, you're not going to be disappointed. I do recommend the ECM G1. You know what microphone I don't recommend? This microphone, the Sony ECM M1, with all these different pickup patterns and this, that, the third, and it's all great, right? It does not work. Even reviewing the footage when I was sitting 5 feet away, you really couldn't hear me. It's like it only works 3 or 4 feet. This is good if you're really in like a loud environment, whereas you know, there's a lot of noise going on right behind you and you just wanted to pick up what's right in front of you. But other than that, the sound quality is not much better than the ECM G1, and it is not much better than the Rode Video Micro 2, which you could buy 4 of these for 1 of these. And $350 is a lot of money. Yes, it's got some cool pickup patterns, but let's not forget Rode Wireless Pro that just came out. $400, you get 2 receivers, and it's going to sound great. So $350 for this, I would not buy this. I wouldn't go anywhere near this. Even if you pick it up on sale, it's very gimmicky. I am not satisfied with this. I don't think you should get this. It is not worth the money. Now, a microphone that is worth $350 would be the ECM B1M. This is probably my favorite microphone on the list. There's a bunch of pros, but there's really one big con, or really two big cons, and we'll talk about it. This one, because we have 8 pickup patterns, it sounds the best. Even when I was standing on the other side of the room at 8.5 feet away, this still picked up my voice clear, and I believe it's an XLR microphone, which I'm not really sure what that means, but professional level microphone. You've got these pickup patterns, that's really all you need. All around 360, cardioid and supercardioid, that's good enough. I just leave everything on auto, but it's really nice, it's really compact, it's sleek, it's nice, it's very luxurious. You just slide it on and go. Super convenient. The first con we're going to talk about is the size. I am on the ZV-E1, which is a bit of a bulky camera. It's a small full frame camera, but it's still a pretty bulky camera. Let's just make believe that this was the camera that I was going to take, and let's say that the lens sticks out to about there. Well, if we slide this on, and by the way, this is not compatible with the ZV-1, look at how big that microphone is. Again, even if the lens was out to there, look at how big and look at how tall the microphone is. It's a very tall microphone, and I found that I have to be very careful putting it in a bag. I can't put it in my bag like that because I don't want to damage the microphone or the hot shoe mount on the actual Sony camera. But that's the first downside of this microphone. So what I do is I just take my backpack and I carefully place the camera in like that. That way it's sitting like that and this part is against my back. I don't place it in like this. I place it in like that. That way the microphone is always on top of the camera. And then when I pull it out by the lens, and I very carefully make sure I don't snag this on anything. Because I don't like taking the microphone off, putting it back on every time I put it in and out of my bag. And the second con is going to be the price. $350 is a lot of money. Is it worth the price? Yeah, it is worth the price, especially compared to this monstrosity right here, the ECM M1. This one does not sound good at all compared to the ECM B1M. This sounds great. It's super convenient. You can use it for vlogging as long as you don't mind the size, but it is very expensive at $350. And again, Rode Wireless Pro 2, $400. The Rode Wireless Pro is just a lot more of a versatile setup than this shotgun microphone that only works with Sony APS-C cameras or above. It doesn't even work with the Sony ZV-1, the Sony ZV-1 Mark II. This microphone does not work with it. Neither does the M1 or the B10. If you have $350 to spend on a microphone, and you have the Sony full frame or APS-C camera, that's a bit newer. Definitely check the compatibility list. You won't be disappointed with this. You just gotta have deep pockets to be able to afford a microphone like this. Last but not least would be the ECM B10. This is kind of like the newer version of the B1M. It's a little bit shorter, although not much shorter, but the height is still exactly the same. Pretty much the same microphone. This one just has the 4 pickups on top, whereas the ECM B1M has 8 pickups. Check it right there. The B10 has 4 pickups, the B1M has 8 pickups. So that's why when I was standing 8.5 feet away from the camera, you could hear my voice so much clearer with the 8 pickup microphone than you could with the 4 pickup microphone. The B10 is a great budget option, but it just kind of feels like a weird halfway house between the ECM G1 and the ECM B1M. So I'm not sure I would buy this. My recommendation would be, if you want to get the B10, just go with the B1M, save up that extra $100. This one is worth $350. This one, it's not really worth $250, but it's better than the ECM M1. So to recap, if you're on a budget and you want a very versatile microphone, Rode Video Micro 2 for $80. You can boom it closer to your mouth. You can use it vlogging. It's nice and small. It's not going to get in the way when you pull it in and out of your bag. The only downside is you're going to have to constantly plug it in. And every time I put it in and out of my bag when I was using this one, I unplugged it because I didn't want to damage my audio jack on my expensive full frame camera. This one works with every camera and it's a great option. And if I was on a budget and I wanted good quality audio, this is the first one that I would buy. Now the best vlogging microphone I would say would be the ECM G1, especially when you're editing. You can play with the audio and make it sound almost as good as a much more expensive microphone. And this one is much smaller than, let's say, the B1M. It's just a lot shorter, it's a lot smaller. It also works with cheaper cameras like the ZV-1 and the ZV-1 Mark II. The sound quality that you're getting out of the G1 is really good for the money. If you got deep pockets and you want to have really good, perfect audio, the ECM B1M ECM will not let you down. If you have a Sony full frame or APS-C newer camera, this microphone is super convenient. You slide it on, it just works. It picks up great audio. I've really enjoyed using this microphone. You can't go wrong. It's worth the price. It's just expensive. Microphones that I wouldn't recommend, I would not recommend the ECM M1. I think it's just gimmicky. There's a lot of extra features that you don't need. The sound quality is not there. The ECM B10 is a better microphone than the M1, plus it's $100 off. If you like the sound quality of this microphone and you just want something that's more vlogging centric and you're not going to be standing 10 feet away from the camera, maybe you want to save some money, the B10 won't let you down. So these are the 3 microphones that I recommend depending on your budget and your needs. So hope you enjoyed it, hope it helped, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.